Go, Eric.
All set?
Yep.
All right, the time being 6:30, I'll call to order the June 25th, 2013 meeting of the Tilton Planning Board. Our first case number one is Planning Board Case 13-06, Site Plan Review for Gerald Shalee, all right.
Okay.
Applicant is proposing to have flea markets and campsite along Route 3 and 11. The property is a vacant lot located on Laconia Road in Tilton, New Hampshire. Tax map R21/12A in the Resort Commercial District.
Yes, we do.
Bring that to the floor.
What
We'll bring this to the,
is the application?
Oh, it's-
complete?
is the application complete?
You have to do that. You haven't done it before.
And,
It looks substantially.
Okay. The application appears to be substantially complete.
All right, I'll make a motion to,
No.
what's missing?
Under existing data, where the tax map is,
Yeah,
it says R12, it's supposed to be R21.
oh,
You just don't know.
well, all we have to do is turn it over.
Okay, well, just want to make sure it's legal.
Yeah. Okay. So it should be R21. They just transposed these
Okay.
numbers.
R21,
21.
12A,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. I'll make a motion to accept the application for case 1306, the site plan for Mr. Gerald Shalee, as it appears to be substantially complete.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Who seconded that?
Jane.
Jane, okay.
Right. I'm a little rusty today for some reason, I don't know why.
Work.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have to go to work mode, out of work mode. Is the applicant here, I guess? I know one of you look familiar, and I'm not sure why.
They both look
They're
familiar.
both here.
I know they're both here. All right,
You got caught in the rain too, huh?
I did, and I think I wet my head here a little bit, so I'm sorry. Come on up. Have a
Anybody
seat.
have any
Stand.
questions about what Mr. Sherry wants to do?
How many campers are you looking to put in?
No more than 20.
No more than 20?
That will be 10 sites.
Then 20 tent sites.
The tent,
Yeah.
tent
We're
only.
not talking about RVs yet.
Yet.
Pop-ups,
It could be at some point. We just haven't decided.
kind of like tent trailers too.
Excuse me?
Tent trailers also?
Pop-ups or
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
tents?
pop-ups.
RVs or?
We're not sure yet.
But currently only self-contained units.
Yes.
Where will you be putting porta potties?
We'll probably be putting them somewhere up beside the parking lot side, if he indeed decides to do this.
So porta potties on either side of the
Yeah.
parking area?
Yeah.
Is this little wavy line up here, is that the property line?
Yes, it is.
You weren't gonna put your porta, well,
You're not gonna put down,
Well,
the-
this,
you're gonna put
um,
down your property, right, Jerry?
What you're seeing here is,
Yeah.
this is all open here,
oh
and all of
yes,
that's all open there.
right, yeah.
So we could probably put them right in there.
But you're not, your setback on this side.
What's that?
The setback on
We'll
this
set
side?
it back 20 feet
Yeah,
from the lot line.
okay.
Yeah.
I see
Uh,
Brad has one fire pit. Where's that fire pit gonna be
The
located?
fire pit's proposed to be in the middle, right in the
Okay.
middle of it, because it's all sandy and everything there,
Mm-hmm,
no chances of catching the woods on fire.
right.
Yeah.
Is
He
there
was
room-
out there and we showed him, and he issued, Jerry issued
Yeah,
the
well,
permit.
we have the letter, that's why.
Yeah, we have the letter. On these, what, from when to when do you think that you're gonna run this? I assume you're not going to have this open to camping and,
It's probably, we would not extend it beyond October 15th,
okay,
and somewhere between June 1st.
June 1st to October 15th?
Yeah,
And would this also be the food market?
yes. Just to let you know, it probably won't happen, because Mr. Shaley's trying to rent or lease the property, but we want the option that if someone wants to come in and lease it, under the town's approval of the site plan, they can do it.
Okay,
And if someone decides to do that, we'll make sure that porta potties are in place and the fire pit will be built. But as right now, we don't have any plans to really do this. But we need to be site planned it just so we can have something there.
okay. I
So you,
understand.
you want to lease this out to what other type of?
Well, for whatever you it's approved for.
So in other words, the lease,
So if someone wants to come and say, Jerry, I'd like to lease the
the
property for a campsite, and they'll manage it, he will let them do it under the conditions that we do what the town says.
right,
Put the porta potties out, and a fire pit has to be built, put stones around it. And if it's next year, we know we have to seek another permit for the campfire.
right.
And the
Right.
driveway, won't you?
Excuse me?
And the driveway permit, it's only,
Yes.
yes.
Yes, we know that.
What would prevent someone going onto someone else's property and cutting or getting wood and stuff like that
Right.
Nobody.
for the campfire?
Nobody.
No, but what would prevent, I guess, there be a fence there, or is it gonna be?
No, it's not fenced in.
'Cause I mean, where I work, we have a fire pit, and when we get a fire going,
Hmm.
people grab whatever they can, as long as it's dead, they throw it in the fire pit.
Well, let me put it like this, they would not be welcome leases if they did something like that.
I'm not talking about the lease, I'm talking about if,
Anybody,
it's just gonna be open to the public, I guess, so if I'm driving along, I say, hey, I don't wanna go camping, and I go camping there, and then I say, hey, they have a fire, and I go up into the woods that are up here.
Well, that's a matter of trespassing. You know, we can put some no trespassing signs there.
But I think that would be a
And
condition of any
I don't
town
think
camping
that's
site.
a condition that the planning board should be looking at.
Okay.
As a tent only or pop-up site, how many sites do you actually foresee in here?
He said no more than
No more
20.
than 20?
Yeah.
Now, if you decide to make this for RVs, is there anything you're going to have to
Well,
do to the grounds?
we had some plans. What we were gonna do is we were gonna go look at a real RV park, and we were gonna look at the layout to figure out how many square feet we need to have an RV, because it's awnings, and we were gonna pave it, and if we did it, it would be a professional RV park. He would be bringing in sewer, he would be putting a bathhouse, because we bring the sewer from across the railroad tracks and up. He'd actually build a bathhouse there. It would be a really nice RV park. And as a matter of fact, if we do that, we will come back and visit you and give you a new drawing.
Well, I was gonna say, yes,
Yeah.
if you're gonna go to something that extensive.
Yeah, oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, no.
yeah, because we're gonna
I would
have to
make it a
do
condition that you
grades and
do
everything
that.
over there, and,
Yeah.
sure,
I've looked at the park up by the Weirs,
right.
up by and back of that
Mhm.
RV park up there, I've talked to the owners up there,
Right,
and, you know, I have a good idea, it's just a matter of trying to put some sort of numbers together to see how feasible it is.
mm-hmm,
As it was, I don't wanna do what I did with the hotel and spend all kinds of money and then decide it wasn't worth it.
I understand, I understand.
So everything here is kind of And as everybody knows on this board, I have tried to do all kinds of things to get somebody to be motivated.
Right.
It's just not, it's very difficult to get people motivated, you know, on that strip right now.
Well, fortunately, the economy is improving, so maybe it'll get better.
Someone's saying that the economy is improving, but I ain't gonna say it.
Well, if you were gonna go with the big RVs, you'd need more room anyway, wouldn't you?
No, we'll be limited to the amount of RVs we can put in there, because there's gonna be a certain amount of, he wants a little bit of green space
Yeah.
as well, and we'll have a driveway, and then it takes, I mean, it's, of course, the trailer, they have the awnings that pop up, so we would calculate all that square footage, and then actually drop it into this site. And whatever it be, we don't know how many there will be, but I mean, as many as we do put in there to make it comfortable.
The idea is to, really what you're trying to do is to make, what my concept is to try to make each site an independent little site that has enough green space, enough hot top. It would have what they call it's a power station, where they have, what they have is they have the electricity, they have the sewerage right there, they have the water hooked up there.
Right.
They actually have cable, and they have other items that are all in this pedestal type of situation, you know, device that they use. And all of that will be, you know, each lot would be, you know, of that nature.
Cable?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Why not?
There goes
Cable.
roughing it.
Should cable-
Oh, absolutely.
We'd have cable.
That's what they do up there.
Roughing it.
You gotta give the amenities.
Utilities from the electricity to the sewer.
Yeah, people want the amenities if you're gonna do
Okay.
them.
That kind of, it brings up the question of length of stay. Is there, because if you've got all those nice amenities, and everything's sitting there, how long could an individual stay on the site? I mean, they could rent it forever and
Well,
become
I
a
mean,
transient
they're
property.
limited to the season.
The season, June
We
1st to
already told
October
you what the
15th.
season was gonna be, from June
I will
to,
tell you what
October
what,
15th.
Something
I will only tell you what I know about Laconia right as of this moment.
I don't think so.
A lot of the people, like they have the big RVs, they actually leave them year round, but they only occupy them during the season.
Oh, yeah, I got a friend that does the
They
same.
close the campgrounds down. Most of them do.
But then again, I don't know if there is restrictions on what that is within the town. I don't know if there is any, you know, whether it is one, you know, from the season, only the season, or someone can extend it into October. I have no idea.
Well, that's,
They don't wanna turn it
that would be
into a.
future stuff.
Oh, no, I understand that.
They don't want-
It's not what
That's
you're here for,
all
it's
year
just
round.
tonight.
Yeah, I
know
know,
that.
we know where you're going.
Yeah.
But they certainly can come up on weekends if he decides to make it all year round.
Oh, well, yeah, it's like, you know, from date to date, and after the date,
Yeah.
they clear out. And,
Yeah.
you know, you can't store your property
If-
there.
If it's a tent site, that's what will happen.
Mhm.
If it's an RV site, it might change.
And that's a future discussion.
Right, people can, you know, people might wanna come up snowmobiling and stay in their camper, you know, for the weekend. But certainly we
Yeah,
won't
that's
have
a
any
future
full-time
discussion,
residents
because that's
living
gonna
there.
take different planning.
So would this be a campsite and a flea market at the same time?
No,
No.
either or. And as I said, I don't think Mr. Shaley intends to do this himself. If it ever happens, it'll be someone that's leasing it, or if he decides to turn it into an RV park,
Mhm.
we'll come back and we'll have to do some more work for you.
Okay.
So right now, flea market / tent sites, campground.
That's allowed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there any butters here?
I'm in butter on two sides,
Two sides.
across the street and right next to it.
What's?
You 12,
Pardon?
you about 12.
I don't have it in front of me. Show off.
To the left, as you're
To
facing.
the east and to the north. This is
So
great.
this is you.
I'm here
Here.
and I'm here.
Right.
It would be her woods they'd be chopping up.
So, that leads me to my first item.
That being said,
No, I think I'd see John before I'd see you.
Oh, no, you probably don't
Nice.
want to do that. I would request that you, as part of the site plan, require signs along the boundary that I shared to the east that would indicate that it is private property, there's no trespassing, no cutting of wood, and that there would be a minimum of 40 feet apart.
We promise we'll do that for you, Kathy. I
And,
promise you.
and,
You know me.
I know you,
Okay.
that there be a designated quiet time.
that's a good point.
It could be.
Well, I experience motorcycles every year, like to pull in,
No.
might be up at 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever, and
Yeah.
I can anticipate yeehaw across the street. It seems like it's an unpopulated area, but actually Noyes Road, which is heavily populated, is to the west and south. So,
There could be 1 or 2 motorcycles in there at certain times of the year too,
sure.
that could make noise. So yeah, I would agree that, quiet times should be required.
Yes, and if you've made it part of the site plan, it would stay with the property,
Mhm.
or at least as long as the site plan is in effect.
Right.
Those are my main 2 issues.
What are your sub-issues that I was going to
Don't mess with my goats.
You have to go there.
But don't let your goats mess with them, right?
As long as they don't talk.
Well, all I have to worry about is the pig. She likes to roam.
Your pig likes to roam.
Pardon?
Your pig likes to roam.
Yes.
Should that land be
Don't let
fenced?
it go to
That's the line
campsite.
should be
The only
fenced.
visitors I've ever had from you was your horses.
Yeah, the horses like to visit too.
Wait, are your animals on the same side of the road or they're across the street?
Sometimes. We
Get out.
pasture them across the street once we cut the
We need to site
hay.
plan your
So
animals.
the oxen
But
and the
she
horses
has a-
will go over there with the goats.
But she has a traffic cop who directs them when that's the case.
Yes, the police assist us with the crossings
Oh, Mr. Cormier.
twice a year.
I love country life.
It's the only Tilton.
What about pedestrian traffic going from the proposed campground to Greenside Restaurant? I'm concerned with traffic versus pedestrians.
Well,
To build
Well,
an
they'll have to
audience.
cross the street with caution.
That's a tough one.
The state's certainly not gonna put a crosswalk there.
No.
Oh, no, no. I got,
I can just offer that I
I
cross every day to get my mail.
that would be like the same
Just
thing
pay
as if
attention.
someone was gonna walk across the street to,
You're not looking
get
at
a cup of
camera.
coffee down at Dunkin' Donuts. I
No,
I
it's
don't
not
think
true
there's much
for me
difference.
either.
Try to get across the street where I live to get to my waterfront.
No, I'm just thinking about people walking up and down to the Barley store, the convenience store up
Well,
there.
that's-
I think that's too far
That's
down.
the
People are
size,
too
yeah.
lazy. I
Yeah.
think they'll walk
Yeah.
that far,
I agree
honestly.
on that.
That's pretty far.
But they wouldn't have to cross the street to do that.
That's pretty far. That would be a vehicle. I can see where they might go across to the restaurant. They have their golf course.
Well, I wouldn't mind, I wouldn't be against that. The more the merrier.
Because I have a fire pit where I work and I have to follow many restrictions. And I'm surprised that there's no water requirement for the fire pit. And I'm just thinking on a windy day, an ember blows the wrong way. Or I'm just thinking,
Just bring a hose from the
well, there's
restaurant.
no water on the property, so that's why I was just,
Well, I think that's why we have the fire chief go out and
Yeah.
Right.
give permission,
Yeah.
which he's done, so I don't think that's really something we need to be concerned about.
Yeah, they'll keep an eye on
I have to have 15 gallons of water at a little fire pit that's
Yeah.
as big as this table and to be able to put it out in case it gets out of control, so, but I'm in the national forest, so.
You should, you deal with
I
different.
think the
Small
thing in a
bit of
nutshell,
watching
I
it.
think the thing in a nutshell that you're talking about is due diligence would be to have an extinguisher on hand.
it. Right.
Just-
Or at least a bunch
Yeah.
of sand.
That's really the next question,
Well,
is
that's
this an
what it
actively
says.
managed
It's
property,
around
is there somebody on site
Will there be someone on site?
Probably not.
So where would someone go to get, drive it down the road and they wanna camp there, or would they have to make reservations in advance only?
As we said, we are probably not gonna do this.
But that doesn't matter.
It will
Doesn't
be,
matter. The
it will be
questions
the,
have to come up.
wait a minute, well, it will be the responsibility of whoever leases it. The only thing that Jerry is gonna propose to do, if he ever does anything, is to put the RV sites in there, and at that point, we'll address that. But for now, if he leases it, he leases it, and it'll be the responsibility of the leasee.
I think everybody knows my intentions since I've owned it since like 1994, and I haven't been able to do zip with. I mean, so, you know, maybe we're reaching for straws, but I'm trying, we're trying to figure out how to fit in over there, and that's basically what this is all about, is how to improve the corridor a little bit in the land that I own. You know, it's just a tough scene.
I certainly don't have a problem with trying to do something with what you own.
I understand that, I'm just, you know,
The questions that just raised is, okay, yeah, there's no water on the property. You got campers in there that may or may not have a good time doing certain other extracurricular activities, okay? And if a fire pit gets out of hand, who is the responsible person in that situation? And you're saying there kind of isn't one. I mean, if
We're not
there's an
saying there isn't one. We said that whoever leases the property, they will be responsible. That's what I said. Also, what I said is Jerry doesn't intend to do a flea market there or a tent site there, but we need to get something approved on that lot because it has not ever been site planned. So to make it, the assumptions you're making, not correct. There's nobody gonna be there, and he's not gonna do it.
well,
However, if he decides to do an RV park, we will make sure all these provisions are taken care of. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for the campsite and the flea market.
well, the biggest issue that strikes me, is just the fire department has already been there. We sat and we talked to them. They put it where they wanted, and it's to be
It's
returned.
open.
It's their concern,
Yeah.
though. If they had that concern, I'm sure they would have addressed it with us.
And I understand it's surrounded by sand.
It's surrounded by rocks.
If anything
It's
catches,
And sand.
rock.
if anything catches fire, that hurricane would have to go through there and blow flames. Look at the middle of that, look at the distance it's gonna go.
I mean, all I'm saying is, right now, I appreciate where you're going.
Yeah.
I just don't know how to answer it, because the fire department is already, you know,
Approved.
they
I'm
didn't
just
raise
trying to
any
walk
issue.
down a list of questions.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well,
Captain had a
Whoever
question?
actually goes in and applies for the permit and signs for it will be the person ultimately responsible if the fire gets out of control. They will be liable. It says it right on the permit. I know, I've told them. And it also states on there that somebody has to attend that fire until it is extinguished. It can't be left unattended. And again, if it is, the person who signed
problem.
it is liable
That's
for
fine.
any
Fishing for it.
damage that is caused by the fire.
Is it the applicant that has to be at the attendance of the fire or no?
No, not
They're just ultimately
necessarily, but the
responsible.
applicant is responsible if they leave someone in charge and they abandon it. It all falls to the person whose signature is on that fire permit. And they're serious.
yeah, see, if someone leases it this year, his fire permit's no good. They have to go down and get their own.
Any other public comment? I guess we'll close it to public comment. Anything else from the board? I see Sandy's.
Just doing our list.
I have
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, I do have a question. When you say a designated quiet time, did you have something in mind when you said that?
11 o'clock or earlier.
That's
Yeah.
reasonable.
11 o'clock at night until 6 a.m. in the morning?
That's reasonable.
That's fine.
So my father goes to bed.
Oh, okay.
What time's your chickens get up?
About 5.
Before 6.
The rooster.
And the roosters? Yeah. And you can't get the quiet time with them?
Okay. I would like to make a motion to approve this site plan for Darrell Shaley, which is Planning Board 13-06. This approval for this site plan is for a campsite or flea market only. Anything else will require further site plan approval. Okay, and the conditions on this approval would be, where have I started? You have said that there'll be no more than 20 tent sites. You're going to operate from June 1 to October 15. We will require that you put no trespassing signs along the border with the Dawson property and honor your 20-foot setback.
Right.
So that she has a 20-foot, so that would give you a 40-foot buffer there where they wouldn't be involved. And I said any change will require a site, further site plan. 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. is a designated quiet time. I mentioned the no trespassing signs along the border with your property abutter. Compliance with the fire permit regulations and compliance with the town signage regulations, should you put up a sign. And I think that's it. Anybody think of anything else I'm forgetting?
What about flea market spaces?
Well, I said it's an approval for either a campsite or a flea market. He said he wasn't going to do both at the same time. The only thing that I would add about flea markets is depending on what you've got coming in there, they may be required to come in and get a hawkers and peddlers depending on what you have coming in.
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't sound like you really are thinking in that direction that much. You've hardly talked to me.
Well, I knew you had to have a hawker's license for that,
Yes,
yeah.
and that would be, they can come right to the town to get
Yeah.
that.
You say the porta potties.
Oh, and you will be, if you're gonna have 20 sites, I would say a minimum of what, 2 or 4 porta potties?
Whatever you like.
And I assume that these porta potties, and they will have regular maintenance. I think this is part of
Yeah,
whoever you lease from.
Jerry has a guy that does his golf course. He
Mhm.
probably would just
Do it once a
extend
week
that.
is what they do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could I just add that the signs be no less than 40 feet apart?
Okay. No trespassing signs, no less
Oh, yeah.
than 40 feet apart.
No, it's what, 40 feet?
And that's it.
There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none? If I had a stamp, I'd stamp it.
Be a gavel.
I'm not giving you a gavel.
I have one.
I whacked myself in the brain.
Sandy, what was the quiet time? Quiet time is what?
11 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Okay.
You look angry.
Oh, no. Far from it. You
Oh, and
know if
this
I was
is-
angry, yeah.
This is, one thing we did talk about, but I didn't make it a condition, I will if you want. And that is, this is for June 1, I did mention
You
that.
did,
yeah,
you did,
October,
you
okay.
did.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. All right,
Go while you're ahead.
yeah.
There's nothing to go with. Follow me.
Yeah,
All right.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
See you later.
bye, guys.
thank you.
Everyone all set? Moving on. Okay, Case number 2, planning board case 13-07, site plan review for 281 Main Street LLC and 17 Center Street LLC. Applicant is proposing to construct a paved parking area. The property is located at 17 Center Street, Tilton, New Hampshire, tax map U5/36 in the downtown district.
Do we have a blow off with that?
I'll make,
Go make a blow off. It's hard to see, 'cause I haven't blown off.
I have this.
Yeah.
That would be good, thank you.
That's fine, but she's gonna make it there.
All right,
This thing,
is the applicant here?
Yes.
Yeah, that's, okay.
Sorry, that's the hot seat there.
No, that's not awesome. Are you Jim?
I'm Jim.
You're Jim.
I'm Jim.
Okay.
Except this is the right one.
Jane?
Thank you very much.
Just a blow up, the same
Yeah.
area. See it already?
Gus, just checking, on the application it says lots 36A and 36, but on this, on the inside here, it just says lots 36.
36 is the one out back. 36A is the building in the front.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to blow up?
No, we got it. No
Oh,
months, I
okay,
guess.
all right.
They're special.
Not we.
Well, okay, you're sharing it, Jim.
Yes, we are. I don't want to do so. Okay. The application appears to be substantially complete.
I'll make a motion to accept the application for case 01307 for 281 Main Street LLC.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Okay,
Welcome to our little,
first time here. So, yeah, we're proposing, he did receive a variance to put 5 additional residential units up on the 3rd floor. And one of the requirements is that he had to put in a parking area for that, facilitate that. So what we're coming before the board is putting in 13 new spaces, 2 handicap, 11 regular. We're showing snow storage in the northwest corner. And we're trying to do it without impeding the town's right-of-way that runs up through there. We're also proposing 2 downcast lights, one at the northwest corner of the building and one at the northeast corner of the proposed parking lot, which is at pretty much the town's right-of-way where it goes into their parking lot there. One of the requests we have is for a waiver for a pre and post drainage analysis. We do have, basically, the site flows from the east side of the proposed parking lot to the right-of-way and flows down between the church and the building to an existing catch basin on his property near Main Street at the right-of-way behind the sidewalk. The proposed pavement is 5,075 square feet of pavement we're proposing. This area is-
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Is my understanding that the chain link fence was coming down?
Yes, that will be coming down on the
there's gonna be a cement wall built along the right-of-way side with a fence of 3 feet on top of it, to that area. Because I talked with John Chase, they stated that they're gonna be doing the parking lot in the back over, because we're proposing for a sprinkler system to be put into the building too. And that's what my thing would be a retaining wall going along the whole side and into the front, and then the entrance going into the parking lot with a 3-foot fence on top of it.
What's that gonna do for snow removal? For the town to plow in there if you've got the,
It'd be separated by a fence. You're talking about the outside or the inside of the parking area?
he was saying there's gonna be a concrete.
Divider.
Divider there,
Yes.
with a
Right
fence
now-
on top.
With he's looking at something concrete, going down the frost, coming out of the earth, off the grade maybe 3-4 feet, and then some kind of divider on top, something that would be appeasing. So you just weren't looking at all concrete.
So the question was, what's that going to do?
See your snow
to
storage.
plowing? No, for our town to try to plow up through there with that.
Well, it would be on where the existing fence is now, which gives it,
Hold that up a little higher.
I'm sorry. Where the existing fence is now, where the proposed parking is, there is basically, we do not infringe on that prescriptive right-of-way that the town has through there. There'd be enough, it'd stay the same.
So your whatever fence or half wall you're talking about would be along the line where you're showing the chain link fence now?
Yes.
Yes.
Up here in the front, that brick footing, is that something that protrudes out into the lot?
Yes, it does. It's just an existing footing that needs to come out. I'm not sure what was there at one time, whether it was a loading dock or something to that extent.
Yeah.
Or a barn.
So that would be coming out for the parking lot?
Yeah, that would be coming out.
And then there's a concrete pad
That would
here
be coming
that
out.
will be coming out
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
Now, there's scaffolding there now.
Right.
What's gonna happen? Will the scaffolding remain? Seems to me
No, that'll
that's,
be removed too.
the scaffolding will be removed.
Yes.
I think it may be 2 feet short, but
It looks to me like it is short. Because it's 60, right? That's, yeah, but I'm, yeah.
is this restricted parking?
Gus, do you have the ruler?
There's one on my desk in the cup there. And there's a big one on top of the cabinet.
Okay.
How far down, I see that you have an entrance coming off of Tryon Street,
Yes.
okay? And then you have an exit going out the back.
Right. So it'd be one
How,
way.
how is your snow storage gonna affect the entrance and the exit?
The snow storage will be pushed into the northwest corner of the proposed paved area. And they would have to leave an open way to get around the snow storage. It's very tight out there.
I know.
Very tight.
But it's gonna prevent the snow going through a chain link fence onto the town right of way, or the town road.
Well, they were going to build that up with concrete and then a fence on top.
It'll be higher in the back.
That concrete wall, whatever, is that gonna go all the way around? Or is that,
Yes, it's not all the way around to the
Except,
entrance.
except for the
Except for the
entrance?
except for the
and
To the
entrance.
yes.
Okay, so there's the entrance, and then the fence is going to go up again, the barrier is gonna go up again to the exit?
Yes, yes.
And is the purpose of that to keep it a private parking lot?
Purpose of that is to dress it up and make it look presentable for the town. And,
But that's a good idea.
I think at the zoning meeting, there was a lot of
Right,
efforts
so
to
you're
do
gonna
this.
be
So
scooting in and, you know,
that's
you
what
can't,
we came up with.
you can't come in
It seemed to be
to these spots
brought
unless you
up
come
over and
in
over
this
again.
way to these spots.
What was
I have the zoning letter here.
Dress it up and put something so it doesn't,
Surface to the left, doesn't take on the whole lot.
How do you figure, are you trying to understand, how do you figure the entrance one way and the exit one way and prevent people, if that's necessary, from reversing that?
Good question. Basically, when I was out there doing my survey, it seemed like everybody, and talking with Augusta, it was just confirmed by her, everybody comes in
But what?
Yeah,
that right of way and heads into the parking area and then heads out to School Street. That seems the
it's a normal flow.
normal flow. So that's why we were saying, go in that way and then come out.
Right, but if I look at your entrance one way,
Yeah,
these 1, 2, 3, 4 parking spots, there's no turnaround space to get into those parking spots. If there's somebody in your left side, your right side parking, then you can't kind of turn around to get into those 4 there. So you're gonna see people coming in to your exit one way so that they can get into those parking. That's just gonna be the ease of travel.
right.
So did you have, I don't think it's a really wise way to do that. You won't be able to limit the entrance and exits. They're both gonna be entrance and exits. And not that that's a major issue, but you can't utilize these parking spaces on the left without access from both ends.
I see what you're saying.
It seems very tight, you know, to have both sides.
Mhm.
And if this is gonna be private parking, if the intent is private parking for the proposed rental units, then you need restrictions on that just so that they can use it.
And I have the zoning board's decision, and it doesn't say anything at all about the fence.
Now, that might have been talked about.
Okay, but it's not in terms of the conditions here.
How much of space is it in the parking lot between parking spaces on the right and on the left?
It's roughly, down at the bottom, it's roughly 24 feet, and up top where they get close is 20 feet. Basically, that's what we could do with the width of the property out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where,
And there's not much more to do to it, but you're gonna,
does that fit, does that parking space that you have 9 by 10, does that fit our new parking regulations? I thought they were 9 by 21.
No, I think they're 9 by 18.
9 by 18,
Hang on, I'll look it up.
Usually, yeah. Once you take some out. I'll take the 4 out and put 1 in here.
yeah, you still have it up,
9 feet
right? You got 1,
by 19.
2, 9, 10. Put 2
What is it, what percent?
The parking space is 9 feet by 19, and the road travelway between the rows is 18 feet for one-way and 24 feet for two-way traffic.
these may have to be more angled type spaces
So-
to give him 24 feet up here and lose a spot.
How many tenants
But
do you have?
even so, you can't get into
The,
these spots without this
The
entrance.
building has,
This has to be an exit, but even that's tight.
has 7 right now, not counting the commercial, if you're talking residential tenants. And it's been approved for 5. So if you need to take out 1 so that we can make it a little more turnaround. So is it, I think the requirement is, was it 1.5 or was it 2?
residential?
Well, is this gonna be used just by residential and not by the commercial people that you have there?
But we have
For
to
instance,
satisfy
The
the
barber
five.
shop?
We have to satisfy the 5. Those are all
Those are-
grandfathered.
Okay, all
So
right.
we have to satisfy the new 5 first.
Okay.
So if that, I think it's 1.5, was that it? And this isn't like 2 or 3 or 4 bedrooms, it's 1 bedrooms.
Studios.
It's studios. So I think the parking regulation would be a lot less for studios than a regular
It
townhouse.
just says residential,
residential.
2 spaces per dwelling unit.
How many?
Two.
2? So
Single 5 feet.
we could do 10, and that would cover the 5, all right? Do you allow piggyback parking? If you have 2, you could piggyback, and that would still be fine. So if we have the 10, and we take the 4 out, we put 2, we could do 2 piggybacks, and that would give, if you're in the barber shop, and you both have a car, and you're gonna come the same time and leave the same time, that's why people usually piggyback the parking, one behind the other. But it'd be 10
Right.
at a minimum.
So you just take out that first one
I
by
think-
the entrance?
Jim had a second scheme on that, but
Yeah, we take out, basically just, you take out these ones on the problem ones and just put it as a parallel space in here.
switch them around.
Yeah, that's why I just was thinking,
Yeah.
that's why I wrote over here, if you angled them a little
Yeah.
bit
Yeah.
higher, you could increase your distance if you're 20.
Right.
You lose that one spot, but
But it'd be a lot more maneuverable.
it would be, except you'd have to reverse your entrance exit ways, otherwise you can't get into those spots by your entrance way.
We could do that.
I mean, it's not really working.
I mean, that's the only way you could do it. I mean,
Right.
if-
You know, that or you pull in and back up,
Right.
but there's this pile of snow that you're not gonna have.
Right,
so you'd have to
exactly.
do that, yeah. And then are these restricted parking spaces for the rental units?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Just
what's-
those 5 or for all?
Oh, 5, we need 10 for 5.
Yeah.
for the
Yeah, so
approved
they'd have
five.
to restrict it for that, and then what's your plan for restricting that access? Is it passcode, card code, anything like that, gated for the
I'm
parking
gonna have
area?
a sticker in their car, and every 6 months, the sticker will be changed to a different color, knowing which parking.
It's in our packet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's an open parking, if that's an open access there, how are you gonna, you're gonna have people from,
I'm willing
during
to
regular,
have a
looking for
tow
parking
car
spot.
company check on it and see, the proper stickers.
Or how, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. How about proposing a sign? You know,
just,
private parking,
Yeah.
But that's
violators
their
will be
problem.
told.
yeah,
tell-
Yeah.
just do it to, have you running into, because throw a tow truck in this restricted area here and try and haul somebody out, I mean, it's not gonna, that's just,
I think it's signed,
It's
just
not
saying
functional.
private parking,
Right.
Yeah.
no trespassing.
No
it's
trespassing.
just,
Not our issue.
Right.
no, it isn't, I wanna put it out there, that's all. Yeah, I think you have to do that, you have to change the parking space. So I took just 3 on this side, the town this side, have it there, reverse the, this becomes the entrance. Sorry to toy this up for you, this has to be the exit. And even if that's the exit, coming out this way, it's still a tight turn, but I don't know what kind of space you've got here. Take a look at that.
Well, that would be one way anyway, they're gonna have
Yeah.
to go right
Well,
out.
they have, yeah, right.
Yeah.
But is it a tight turn with what's,
No,
what's
that-
what's right here?
This isn't the tight space, this is the tight space here.
Right, but now this becomes the entrance, this becomes
Right.
the exit, what's right here, so that you can come, back out and go this way to get out,
Right.
or this way to get out.
Well, this is the congregation.
Right, but this isn't paved, is it?
Yeah.
It will be.
Is it
Yes,
paved
it will
right there?
be.
Okay, so there's a turn space
Yeah.
there. Okay.
So you would keep the parking all along this side,
Yeah,
and then over here, you would take these and you would make these parallel
Correct.
against the
Yeah.
property.
And be angled. If you're angled, you can get 3, if you're parallel, you're gonna get 2.
Okay, so you're still gonna have them angled?
If you
Just
angle-
take one out?
Yeah, you take one out, and that would increase your distance from the 20 feet,
Right.
probably up to the 24 required.
Okay.
I think that would do it.
Yeah.
So the street's still gonna be like a two-way street or not?
It's not currently.
No, it's not a two-way
not
street
currently-
now.
It's currently
Right.
one.
It's
Yeah.
one way.
Okay, so is that how it's gonna stay?
Yes.
Yeah, we can't change the street.
I'd like to tell
Yeah,
them.
we can,
Right.
but we won't.
But to flip it this way,
Hmm.
I have to go out this way, well, we can this way, to get out here.
Fill in the traffic, you should go this way.
This way. But,
Yeah, it goes, it probably goes this is the way it always goes.
Everybody does it this way, just because it flows.
Yeah. Right, it goes this way, it's,
Yeah, it goes in from Main Street.
right.
Right, so that flooded one next
That flows.
And most of the people, very few people exit this way.
That flow means the water.
That's the issue with the water.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
Yeah, and the water is here because they're gonna use the drainage down there.
Right, but, right through there. Did you all see that letter we're getting for the request for
Yeah.
the waiver for stormwater design?
I did.
Can you read that out loud to the?
Actually, that's not in our packet. Could
Oh.
we get copies of it, Macaulay?
Yeah, you want me to read it? or you-
I had copies on
There.
the table, I thought.
Of this?
Yeah, I made a bunch of
Okay,
copies.
I read it, so
You want me to make some copies?
Should I just read it for
How
everyone?
many?
Sure, go ahead.
Should do that.
All right, I'll just read this here.
For the public,
Yeah.
I'll just read it to you guys here. It says, to the date of June 20th, 2013, RE site plan 281 Main Street / 17 Center Street, Tilton, New Hampshire. Waiver for stormwater design to the Tilton Planning Board. Dear board members, my client is asking for a waiver to item 6, parentheses F, of the town of Tilton site plan regulations, whereas the board in its discretion could ask for, most likely will ask for, a licensed New Hampshire professional engineer to review the on or off-site stormwater runoff from a proposed parking area behind the building known as 281 Main Street on a lot that is known as 17 Center Street. The proposed paved area in the area from the public's right-of-way as well as the town's paved parking areas will most likely have to be taken into consideration in any future design considerations. The existing lot as it stands does not have adequate space to offer surface detention or retention for such an area. My client's thought is to follow the existing grade with pavement and meet up to the existing pavement at the town's right-of-way that runs from Main Street to the town's back parking lot. The runoff will flow towards Main Street to an existing catch basin that is located on my client's property within the town's right-of-way, which services the runoff currently in this area. James P. Smith and Tony Blue.
So, I mean, this way, obviously, to the kitchen.
Yeah, that's what that flow is.
Yeah.
That's what that flow means.
It's right here.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So, the only question I would have is, there's the height delineation on this side to show that it flows this way.
Yep.
Is that on there?
Yep, it's, actually, we've got spot shots. Basically, from this side of the parking area to here, it's like a foot.
Is that, so it runs down towards that?
And then it runs, I've got spot shots going down the pavement. The catch basin rim is 450. Up here, we're at 452.
Okay. Right, yeah.
So it flows naturally
452.
right into that catch basin.
454. So, yeah, okay, I'll come this way and down this way.
So this stays, this stays, this stays.
It's gonna come this way anyways, and come down.
And, yeah.
So, yeah, your flow will come to here, down to here. Okay. You get 190.
I kept it that way, so it's not.
450 here.
And then that one, it's going to be
So,
452.
yeah, so yeah, your flow's gonna come.
for that catch basin to have to catch all that additional water.
Yeah, that's another question about how much more additional water? I mean, you're not looking to increase or create that height level or anything like that, that flow is already existing?
Yes.
No, it's not existing.
No,
It's
it's
currently
not.
dirt.
This is
Dirt.
dirt.
This is all
Yeah, we're
gravel.
This is going to be
Right,
paved
so we're gonna
now.
make it an
So that
impervious
flow is
surface.
going to come over.
Yes.
Right. That's additional.
So then that raises the question if that catch basin is
It's big
sufficient
enough,
size.
such as that.
But we're just coming here today, there was water flowing across the road right there. From just the downpour that we had today. Then in the winter, you have water coming across there and freezing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, any way to find out if that catch basin can handle that, what maybe the increased flow there?
Is that a town catch basin or a state catch basin?
It's a town.
Town.
No, it's not.
It's not a town.
Their catch basin is a series of catch basins that was installed by the state of New Hampshire Department of Transportation in the 30s, when Route 3, when the Daniel Webster Highway was created, basically. And it was a whole series of them along Main Street designed to catch the flow, and it all goes into the Winnipesaukee River. If you called up District 3 or DOT right now and asked them whose basin it was, they'd say it was the town's.
Right.
But it is in effect part of that project, which I have blueprints for upstairs, and clearly shows that it was.
Or did we have issues with those? Didn't Dennis have issues with those
Yes.
partially collapsing in the last one?
Yeah,
that
we've
went
had
in?
conversations, we have repaired some of the collapsed ones,
Yeah.
but have followed it up to the state saying, we just fixed your basin. We're not taking ownership of it, because as he says, it's just one in a series. So it's a whole system.
Yeah, is there, I'll open it up to the public for any comments. Oh, sorry. I can't see you.
Kind of
Oh,
close
Pat,
there.
hi Pat.
Yes, I have a series of questions, if I may. How many new tenants will be served by the third floor?
We have up to 5 units up there.
So how many tenants in the units? Two,
Total,
right?
total residential tenants will be 7 on the second floor, 5 on the third floor.
So that's 12.
That's correct.
And you have 13 parking spaces. And you're talking about taking a couple away because it's already too cramped. So there's really not adequate to serve the tenants that he has there right now.
And some of them are grandfathered to be there. They're
What does
grandfathered.
grandfathered mean?
It means they've been there a lot longer than the parking lot. The parking lot was a requirement to develop the upstairs, the third floor. That was the requirement that the zoning board put on.
If you have one-bedroom apartments up there, you could conceivably have 10 people up there,
No,
2 people living together.
I don't necessarily.
they would
agree
have
with
to
that.
be related. But if somebody does have 10 kids, we can't tell them to get rid of 5.
No, that's not what I'm
Oh.
saying. You're putting 5 units up there, and
5.
you told us they're one-bedroom units.
They're all 1 bedrooms.
If there's like couples, that's 10 people.
Right,
That's correct.
It wouldn't be 5 people, it could potentially be 10.
right.
It could be.
And
yeah.
potentially a couple of cars per family, too.
So there's no limit on the occupancy of it
Right.
when someone goes there. Someone goes up there single and comes back married, what are you gonna do?
But he's figuring on two for each of the unit that's going on the third floor, which would be 10 spaces in that parking lot.
Okay, so my next question is, how wide are the handicap spaces that are in the parking lot?
The handicap space is 10 by 20?
I think it's 12 by 20, I believe.
12 by 20.
Does that meet the state requirement for handicap space?
Yes.
Okay. Does your client have permission to ingress and egress onto a town road already? You have this as coming out onto Tyrone Lane and coming out onto Center Street, so,
They would be required to get a permit from the highway department.
But
well, they're talking like they already have one, so I just was wondering whether or not that.
the right-of-way is actually on his land. He owns the land
I-
and the right-of-way.
Where do you,
Prescriptive
where do
right-of-way.
you?
It's
Right.
not a
It's a
right of way.
prescriptive way,
It's
right.
not a right of way. We took that right of way by prescription. It is now a town road.
Correct.
So he had, at one time, he had given the town a right of way. Then the town took it by prescription.
No, there was no giving a right of way. What happens when it's prescriptive is, years ago, the boundaries of the church and that building, whoever the owner was, there was no road there. But prescriptive means because people have used it for, and I think it had to be, the test was 20 years. You can't take roads by prescription today. But back then, it had to be 20 years of continual use by the general public as a public way.
Right.
And that had been used for, you know,
Which would,
50, 70 years.
which
So
would
it
leave
was-
him still open to that.
No, it is not. It is now a town road.
No.
It is not a right of way.
No, I'm not saying that. Would leave his land that he pays.
His land
taxes.
ends at the building.
His land ends at the edge of the town road
Correct.
and continues under the road. If the road is ever discontinued by the town, then the land under it would revert back to the abutting property owners. Currently, the town road travels across what is the land of the two abutters. The abutters do not have the right to
Yeah.
move into the roadway, if you will.
Very nicely said. But the thing is that nobody wants to landlock him. And you're right, you didn't go to the,
You'd get
You just need
Public
the driveway
a
permit.
driveway
you got a
permit,
driveway permit.
yes.
So, is it my understanding then that the two parking spaces on Tryon Lane is the town's parking spaces? Am I
That's
correct in saying
correct.
that?
That's correct.
It was talked about earlier that they were.
And he shows that on the plan.
Soon to be, okay. The, the zoning board waiver, the, agreement, what was the criteria for that? Do you have that letter from the? So it says, no certificate of occupancy will be issued until the parking area is complete and the fire suppression system in both residential, commercial, and basement area of the building has passed inspection by the Tilton Northwood Fire Department. Does that mean that they have to do the apartment in order to do the parking lot, or the parking lot in order to do the apartment?
The parking lot has to be done before they can put the apartments on the fifth floor.
So the parking lot has to be done before the parking lot. When you do the fire suppression, are you increasing the water flow to the building when they open up Tyrone Lane?
The fire suppression is a pipe that would be a live water pipe. And once it's connected in total in the building and through the residence and through the commercial, would have standing water. It doesn't move. And it only moves in case of fire. So the water would not affect the flow of anybody or affect someone taking a shower, watering the garden, that the water pressure would go down. The water suppression system in the building would be a standing pipe.
And now, as I understand, the water district is putting a new line through there. Is that in part so that they can get more volume?
It's very interesting, though. it's like a private water company up here, then you have Dig Safe, and then you have the town also, but I believe, and I'm trying to find out what the line coming there is.
Mhm.
We have enough flow in the building right now, even for the 5 calculated, because it's only one bathroom. It's not gonna have 2 or 3 bathrooms, it's not gonna have all kinds of showers with all kinds of shower heads. It's a basic bathroom. So you're gonna have whatever we have in the building with the existing units, plus the additional 5, it will satisfy, the pipe that he presently has right now will satisfy the flow.
Anything else? For the
Catherine
public?
had a couple questions, I thought.
I was just clarifying, kind of like the whole right-of-way thing. And it had to do with grandfathering of the spaces. They're not really grandfathered when a lot of the apartments along Main Street, were created. There wasn't any private parking, so they utilized public parking. So there's no requirement for this particular apartment building to have its own parking for the existing apartments.
Right.
Correct, but these spaces back here are strictly for the new
Well,
apartments.
they could be used by any of his tenants, I suppose. That would be up to the owner, but what I would suppose the planning board would require is that he have at least enough parking for the new spaces that are going to be created in the building.
And that would be if it's 5 units and you figure 2 cars per unit.
Right.
So you need it.
At a minimum, but
Yes.
of course, it would be best to maximize the space.
Sure.
I think my concern is that with our parking ordinance that we have to buy a sticker that says that, I'm an overnight parker, and I have to park against the wall towards the railroad station in the back. If you have 10 tenants in Mr. Panullo's building, and if you have 17 tenants in Mr. Panullo's building, and there's only room for 10 tenants, how does the town then have control over the 7 that are overflow, that can't get in time to get the spaces in the parking space? How does that get to be controlled? Because do we then require everyone to get a sticker regardless, because we don't know whether they're gonna fit in that space? There's not enough spaces. We know there's not enough spaces to fit everyone in the apartment building, and yet if we go by and they say, well, geez, I'm new, everyone there now that exists has a parking sticker.
Right.
So if now it goes into private parking, technically they don't need a parking, but how can you control that? You see the dilemma there.
Does he make it a controlled access and only the people that occupy those 5 units have little cards and they open up the gate?
Right.
That would eliminate that. Yes?
Interesting.
He simply asked the owner of the property to designate that parking for the new tenants upstairs, as a suggestion, or at least designate it for some, so that the town would definitely know who occupying what apartments would be required to have the town placards.
That's
So if it was
exactly right.
designated for the new apartments,
It'll be on
then
use
we
and
would have the
occupancy.
numbers of those apartments. And
You
we
can
would
have the
know that those
spaces
people
numbered.
have their own spaces and everyone
But
else
they're-
would have
The
their
spaces be
placards.
numbered for apartments.
Exactly, they'd have to
31,
be,
32, 33.
you know,
Do that.
It'll be designated on the use and occupancy that anything on the 3rd floor would not be allowed a town sticker because of the parking. It's on it's on the requirement anyway.
Anything on the 3rd floor, you said?
No, anything, yes, the 3rd floor would not need a town sticker because they would be required to park in the parking lot.
But, you know, telling people where to park, a lot of people build houses with garages and they don't put their cars in it, they put other stuff in it, so.
Well, they're just gonna have to know if they're not parked in the parking lot, then they have to abide by the parking regulations of the town.
Exactly right.
Any other public comment? I guess we'll close the public comment.
I would like to ask for a continuation. I would like to sit down and go over this with Dennis and a couple of things, so when can we continue them to?
We can continue them to July 9th if we want.
July 9th
Mm-hmm.
at 6:30?
We have one case at 6:30 and we have a public hearing after
Well, if
that.
I just say 6:30,
Yeah.
because there's no time.
Right.
July what?
Nine.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to continue this case, 1307 for 281 Main Street LLC till July 9th at 6:30, to give us time to look into the road situation and driveway permits and get an opinion of the
The
highway
drainage,
director.
the drainage as well.
Do you want a new plan submitted to you by that time?
A new plan?
Showing
With
the-
the new parking.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new parking.
Yeah. What about the drainage?
Yeah.
But I just said the drainage is an issue.
Yeah, I want to look into the drainage before I make a decision on that.
Did Dennis advise
Yeah,
us on
and when Dennis can give us advice.
Yeah, he can tell us how
They-
the culverts that are already there, the catch basins, how they're working, they're not working, if they're overtaxed, whatever. You know, but I have some questions and
We have the driveway permits as well.
Yes,
Do we-
they can get those here.
Yeah.
Do we have is Dennis part of the DPW?
Yes, he is.
Does he have, if he has any kind of plan showing, because we have one from DigSafe, we have one from the private,
Mhm.
anything that we may not have, if you could provide that plan to us?
What is it, for drainage?
We're looking for drainage, water, whatever is in the roadways, both roadways. Maybe he has something that, maybe we
I'll
never
ask
have
him.
enough.
I'll ask him.
Thank you.
Okay, that's my motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Case petition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and we'll see you on the 9th.
Okay, it's not that far away. Sit up and change.
Good night.
Maps 21 was 11.
Anybody have a
What?
paperclip?
Hang on. How many do you need?
One, please.
Big and all?
That's fine. Thank you. I'm very-
Moving along, case number 3. Planning board case 13-08, conditional use permit within wetland buffer zone. Applicant is seeking to build a walkway from the proposed house to the proposed seasonal dock. Property is located at 603 Laconia Road, Tilton, New Hampshire. Tax map U2/47 in the Resort Commercial District.
Would everybody get the conservation commission? Pull mine out.
Oh, right.
have some additional reduced scale plans that could help what we're doing.
Just gotta wait a new couple more things, just, sorry. The application appears to be substantially complete.
All right, I'll make a motion that to accept the application for the conditional use permit from, this is case 1308, for a seasonal dock, as it appears to be substantially complete.
Is there a second?
Yeah. Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. And you are,
Aaron Wexel, I'm an environmental consultant.
all right.
They were intended to be color plans, so I know when you guys make copies, they end up
Thank
making a
you.
little less sense when they're in black and white, so. These are half scale. Just in case you can't read it. Too small on there. There's a larger. I'm right on mine. It's too pretty.
We'll go right on this one, I'll write on ours.
Alright, so, I believe, I already met with the Conservation Commission. Hopefully you received correspondence from them.
Yes.
Yeah, but does anybody have a copy?
Is this, Gus, is this what I'm looking for right here?
Yes.
I can't see it from here.
It says, conditional use permit Costa,
Yep.
Yeah,
Chuck Mitchell,
yeah.
dated June 20th. Well,
Yes, that's it.
it's stamped June 20th, it's dated
Yeah.
June 19th.
That's it.
Does anybody need me to read it?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. This is from Chuck Mitchell, the chairman of the Tilton Conservation Commission. Already, the conditional use permit, Costa. The Conservation Commission has reviewed the application for a conditional use permit to permit a 4-foot walkway to be constructed within the wetlands buffer area on tax map U2, lot 47. The commission voted to accept the plan and submitted with the assurances that the loam material that is to be excavated for the walkway will not be stored within the shoreline protection area. There was also concern that the walkway will most likely need annual maintenance, which could further impact wetlands. It was suggested that the applicant should be encouraged to remove more loam during initial construction in order to create a solid base that will not need frequent repairs in the future. Thank you.
And who is that from, Eric?
Conservation.
Conservation Commission.
We've done our best to limit impacts. Really, when we originally approached this project, we weren't gonna have a walkway at all. But the more we talked about proposed use and access to the proposed dock, I really felt that the installation of the walkway would actually reduce long-term impacts. Because if we didn't have it, we'd end up with a worn path that would just invite stormwater to go directly down into the lake. This way, at least we can control it a little more. Our actual impact to the buffer is pretty minimal, 162 square feet to the wetland buffer. It's limited just to the walkway. We don't have any other impacts within the buffer. The house is located right on the edge of it, but not within. Proposing, that's the edge of the jurisdiction on there. Yep. We're proposing silt fence to be placed along the edge of the buffer during construction and until the site is stabilized. They overlap there. We have
So
silt fence.
this is only 162 feet of actual.
No, this is
Oh.
the wetland buffer right here.
Okay.
Our actual wetland impacts, we have 335 square feet for temporary impacts along the edges of the walkway, and 322 square feet of permanent impact within the actual jurisdictional wetland. The 162 square feet that I mentioned is purely within the Tilton wetland buffer.
Right.
So that's the portion that we're trying, yeah, it's just the portion above. Yeah, between the, this is the wetland boundary here, and that's there's just that little tiny section there where we get in. We've applied to the Wetlands Bureau for our state permit. We're still under technical review. We have received our shoreline protection application. We're currently going through DHR for our archaeological investigation.
And you have got a copy of the Conservation Commission's recommendations?
Yep, that was the,
Yeah.
I had a copy emailed to me.
Okay. Did you have any issue with other suggestions?
If it's their desire that we go down further, I'm open to that. I'm not quite sure it's going to have the desired effect. I think no matter what we do down there, we're going to have movement over time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fairly wet area.
Right.
We have a significant amount of loam. Even if we excavate down in, eventually it's going to move. I mean, it's a very high water table there. I mean, our original proposal was to excavate down really within 4 to 8 inches and just put down sand and hardtack and put down pavers on top of that. I mean, we weren't talking about a walkway with concrete or with anything that was going to be. We wanted to leave it semi-permeable and really, I mean, adjustments would be done by hand. I mean, we wouldn't be bringing in equipment. It would really be a matter of you have a block that shifts a little bit and right it back into place. I really didn't want to get into putting down concrete and laying everything in there. I don't think anything we put in there is going to be permanent, no matter how far down we go.
Right.
So, but if that's a recommendation, I'm trying.
I mean, I think the state is going to be telling you what they want to see and what they don't want to see as far as your shoreline protection of it. So, and the only concern, I mean, I know that you're under review with the state.
Yeah.
And the only thing I'm looking at is just as far as the buffer area, to not disturb any more than you absolutely have to. And I do agree with not to store your loam and stuff in there because you'll kill off other vegetation.
Yeah, I didn't leave them a lot of room to work with.
Right.
You'll see the edges of the silt fence are not very far off the edge of the walkway.
Right. Yeah.
My client, AW Town Realty Trust, has a construction company as his main profession. He has plenty of laborers and plenty of power wheelbarrows and everything else, and I didn't see any need to bring in large equipment down there because even though we could have proposed temporary impacts, we're going to have long-term impacts from the compaction. Whereas if we bring manpower down in there and truck everything back with a power wheelbarrow, we're really having minimal temporary impacts and dramatically reducing our long-term impacts. So it is noted on the plan that there's no material to be stored within that area.
Good.
Any other concerns from the board?
No, I'm fine.
Is there anyone here from the public to comment? Yes?
Governor Butter,
And your name?
O'Shaughnessy, but
Right next door to Barbara, I'm assuming.
is the walkway gonna go, they already have an area that's clear cut? Is the walkway going down in that clear cut area?
Yes, it's going down into part of it. The edge of the tree line is right here, so this is where that walkway goes down through. And we're going to stay right in that area until we get just to the edge of the water. We have to go over to the best spot for the dock. So we're coming down from here and getting right into that cleared area. That was in that area right now, there's no significant vegetation. So that way we don't need to clear away any trees or shrubs. We have plenty of points for shoreline protection, but at this point, we're not proposing to cut or remove any trees within the 50-foot water quality protection buffer, so.
So what are you gonna do to protect that?
What?
What are you gonna do to protect the shoreline? Here, next to your dock.
Well, that's the extension of the property line. The actual shoreline is back here.
Okay.
That's the reference line. And this is gonna be a seasonal dock that's only in place during summer months. So, I mean, we're not proposing any riprap or anything else along the shoreline, but that's typically what DES
So it's
prefers to
basically
see.
gonna stay like this, except for where you have the dock?
Yes, yeah. No proposed beaches or anything else.
Modification of shoreline.
Nope, nope. Did you have?
Yeah, the only other thing is you said you applied to the state, and I recently did that for my own property, but I wasn't notified as an abutter for that application.
Yeah, we sent out certified letters from the, sorry, I should have copies here. So Shaughnessy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not right.
That would be why you didn't get it then.
Who did you notify for abutters? Just the two listed here?
Well, we notified different abutters for different portions of the project. For the town, we notified more abutters. On the wetland application, we only notified the abutters on either side because the state doesn't define abutters as across the street.
Okay.
See, it shows them, Sean.
But the people across the street were notified for the town, correct?
For the town application, yes.
Yes.
Change your address.
John will give just control.
To the PO.
Barbara will
I'll
show.
change it to that. Good.
Me and Michelle, Joseph.
I got this notification, but
Yeah.
And you didn't get a wetlands?
I got the notification for tonight's meeting, but
Right.
I didn't get that other one.
Hey,
And it was to the wrong address, but I did get it returned.
We pulled the addresses from the town tax card. Apparently it wasn't accurate.
Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're right. We tried.
Any other comments or? Any other comments or?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. I guess I'll close it to the public. Anyone else on the board have any comment?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the conditional use permit for for the Costas, with the recommendation, the condition that I agree with the recommendations of the Conservation Commission as far as the buffer area. I'm assuming they have made this recommendation to the state DES as well. It'll be up to DES as far as the wetland itself. But I agree also with the buffer area that I like to see no storage of any or anything in that area. And as little disturbed as you can do.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Are you in charge of the ice cream boat that goes around?
Who's in charge of that?
Gus, do we want this one? Do we want this big one?
Plays music. And if the kids
Sure,
go
we
on
can-
the dock, they
sure.
go to the-
You're welcome.
Unless you want it. No, I'll keep it, I'll put it in the folder.
May I have these?
In the application, so we'll put down to the state, so
Say McDonald's or whatever down to the engine, but people along the way, and the dogs in the alcoholic drink.
Actually,
Crazy dog.
What's that?
I'll take care of it.
Huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Anyone else? We all set?
Yes.
Moving on? All right. Case number 4, planning board case 13-09, site plan review for Tilton School. Applicant is proposing to create a turf field. Property is located at 21 Pillsbury Lane, Tilton, New Hampshire, tax map U7/39 in the Village District.
Augusta, there are 4 sets of the revised drawings.
Okay. I passed out some, but they may want to
Okay.
see a big one, I don't know.
Okay, well, I've got essentially
All right.
a large plan here. Don't mean to put this to your back.
I had,
You can move up
Maybe I
if you'd
could-
like.
I could go right here. There we go. How's that?
Well, the
all
only thing
right,
is you're right in front of the
reviewed
camera.
application and found it substantially complete.
I'll make a motion to accept the application from the Tilton School, case number 1309, as it appears to be substantially complete.
Second that?
All those in favor?
Aye.
That number again, the case number?
1309.
Should I?
I guess you have the
Okay,
floor,
all right.
if you could introduce yourself.
I will. I'm Susan Moan. I'm with John Crow Associates. We, in conjunction with RAD Sports, are working together for the Tilton School on their proposed development of their Lawrence property, which is north of their main campus, to develop it into a multi-purpose field, a parking area for 27 cars, and 2 bus pull-off areas that would accommodate 2 buses each. And that is essentially the proposal. Hopefully, some future date when a donor comes forward again, we'll be back before you for potential tennis court developments on the site. So the site is located just at the intersection of School Street, Pillsbury Lane, and Prospect Street. The main campus,
Do you have an easel for that?
It's right in front of the TV, so if you want to, just move over a little bit. That way it'll be, because otherwise.
I could just be right here? That'll do?
Well, I got-
Right.
Oh, actually, stand behind you. Or stand in front of the chairs, that way you'll go.
How's this? Is this okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So the main campus of the school is located to the south of the proposed multipurpose field, 27-car parking area, 2 bus pull-offs, and also a proposed detention basin. Residential area exists on the east side of School Street. As I said, the main campus is here. The other campus buildings are also on the east side of School Street, further down here. Tilton's athletic facility building is located right here, along with other academic buildings and dorms. And then residential development exists along Pillsbury Lane. Excuse me. The site slopes from a high point just about at the intersection of Prospect and Pillsbury, from a high point down towards a pond that exists off the site. Wetland soils were determined by New Hampshire soils methodology by soil scientists to exist in this area, sort of north of the proposed field and detention basin. As a part of this proposal, with the athletic facility being proposed on this lot, Tilton also owns this other lot here. We are making application to merge these two lots so that the field will comply and the retaining wall will comply with the setbacks, with it being one complete lot. So that is a part of the discussion this evening. So retaining walls are proposed at the southwest corner and the northeast corner of the field, because we'll be leveling the field. And they are set back from the 20-foot setbacks. Additionally, there is no work proposed within the 20-foot no disturbance zone of the wetland, edge of wetland. We initially, in a rush to get the filing in, we did propose at one time a pipe, one sole discharge pipe, excuse me, from the detention basin within maybe 12 to 15 feet of that zone. We have since gone back and have redesigned the detention basin to eliminate any disturbance at all within the 20-foot setback zone of the wetland. Handicap spaces are proposed at this end of the parking area with handicap accessibility by means of a concrete walk down to the field, a set of bleachers with a press box. The two bus pull-off areas are proposed here and here, and they'd be set off the edge of the drive, or the edge of the roadway. Approximately they're 10 feet wide. So almost, they'll extend almost to the right-of-way line, with sidewalks proposed to connect the bus drop-offs to the field, to the proposed field. The detention basin and the drainage, we've gone through the exercise of pre and post development. All storm events have been lessened for the runoff. And a catch basin is proposed at this end of the parking area with a 4-foot deep sump fitted with a hood. That will discharge to a drain manhole that will be equipped with a storm scepter. Then that will discharge into the basin that has a, excuse me, a forebay to settle out any settlements that might come off the parking area. The field is under drained and will discharge basically towards the north. So even though, and I think that was mentioned in the conservation letter, that even though it appeared that everything was draining this way towards School Street and the ditch, in fact, this area is all draining to the north. I think that's essentially describes the proposal. Allergies are killing me. Thank you.
Would you people like to come up here so you can see what's going on? Sure, feel free. Come join us.
We just have them stand over there.
Yeah, maybe we could.
Use the little tabletop on we have.
My concern is, I'm in the butter. Where will the parking lot be and where will the bus turnaround be?
It's in my.
They just
I'll
pull
get it.
off. So the
It's right in the
parking
corner
area
there, Sandy.
is right here. This
Now,
is
show me
Pillsbury.
School Street.
This
Can we-
is
can we
this
wait-
is School
Can we
Street.
wait, can we wait on questions until we
Just,
open it up?
yeah,
to the
we're getting
public?
we're getting one out here. Here we got sorry
Here.
about that.
You wanna bring your plan over here and we'll
Sure.
set you up?
Sure. Put the chair and.
You guys can sit right down there if you like. You can't, we have, yeah, the camera's there.
Okay, coming in for landing. There we go. Okay.
Pull the chair right out of there.
Okay. Sure, sure. Good idea.
There, now you can see better.
So that's the proposed parking area, and then the buses will pull over here. The students will get out, access the field, come back on, and the buses pull off. And we have, previous to our informal meeting with you all, we did check with Dennis Allen, and he had no objection to the concept of the bus pull-offs. So we will be, following this approval, we will be going before him, DPW, to get the curb cut driveway permit, and we'll be going to the state for the alteration of terrain permit. So that's where we stand.
And how many cars are in that parking area?
27.
27.
Yeah. There are also other areas where parking would be available during events on the field.
Such as?
I'm just gonna ask the public comment, hold off just
Oh, okay,
until
I'm
I
sorry.
open it up to the.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I don't wanna get
I'm
carried
guilty
away.
too.
Sorry. My fault, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
It's fine.
Next time the floor will open.
Can I just make a comment about the buses relative to the project?
Yep.
The buses will not be exiting down Prospect Street.
That was.
Yeah, we have looked at the turnaround in the school, so the buses would continue along Pillsbury, and then we have a driveway where our vans are parked.
Yeah.
So the buses make that turn all the time, so we were concerned about that turn down Prospect Street, and that would be brutal on a bus. So the buses are not gonna go down Prospect Street, they're gonna come back out to School Street and turn down.
Will you have to widen that entrance? I was.
No, actually, we currently have buses who do that turn right now.
What about the lighting? I'm just, you're not finding it down here. Where's the lighting?
They're located,
Which one is it? Oh, that's where I was.
I think it's on SP3. Shows the light locations for the parking area and for the bus pull-off. They'll cut off features, your standard pole fixture.
Was
No field lighting is proposed currently.
What about the press box? Will there be speakers coming from the press box? You know, like a PA system?
We don't have a design for a permanent public address system right now. It'll be a multi-sport field, so for our field hockey and lacrosse and soccer games, we don't use announcers. If we do hold a football game there, we might have a portable sound system set up, but we don't have designs on a permanent system at this point.
Now, is the field only going to be used during the day? Is that why you're not lighting it?
Correct.
So it would just be daytime?
Right now, we only envision daytime use for this field.
Okay.
But you're putting the electrical in for the nighttime, right?
Part of the plans have some of the infrastructure. Lights are about $1 million.
Okay.
So
You didn't
I
have
don't have,
You need
we,
$1 million donation.
about $800,000. So I think part of the design, the pieces that we're putting in relative to lights right now are the pieces that if we were to try and put them in after the construction of the field, that we would have to track over the wetlands.
Okay.
So we're trying to minimize the environmental impact on the site by doing some of these things in the hopes that one day down the road, that might happen. But that we would go through a whole separate process because we recognize the impact of that.
Well, I just think it's such a beautiful field if it wasn't used at night. It's like, jeez, what a waste.
These are kids, they have to be in bed by 10.
Thank you.
School in this day.
Thank you.
Nothing's such a
Or should be, anyway.
What kid do you know goes to bed at 10 unless they're 5 years old? What?
These are old, kids that gotta get up the next day and go to class.
Yeah. Okay.
Private school, they can be stricter than parents.
Oh, yeah.
These are responsible children.
That retaining wall, over here
On the southwest side?
Yeah, the southwest, it says a black vinyl. Would, I mean.
It'll have a fence on top.
No, but what I'm thinking, just for, I guess for aesthetics, would green be a better color, just to kind of blend in?
Actually, we find that black disappears
Black
better than
disappears.
green.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Mhm.
When you buy screening for your porch, do
Right.
you get black screening?
No, but I
Oh,
don't
you
know
don't?
porch.
Black screening disappears.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, it does.
But no, I just, yeah, comments.
I don't know what comes from the board.
All right, I guess we'll open up to the public. Catherine Thompson.
Considering the sensitive nature of the abutting property that I do understand the school knows, and the town property and the pond that the school also owns, has this gone before the Conservation Commission for comment?
Yes.
Because there is, that must be, the blue I see on that is what it,
This is the soils line. The
Okay.
pond is down here.
no, the pond is further.
Yeah, we do have a letter from
We
the
have a letter.
Conservation Commission?
Yes.
Yes, we
Is
do.
that-
Mhm. Yes, they reviewed it. Mhm.
I mean, because they're draining that into that area, which it all runs downhill into the brook that comes through the town property. And there is a wildlife corridor that
I mentioned it.
goes through there.
Is someone going to read the letter?
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, I'll read the letter. Sorry. This is from Chuck Mitchell, Chairman of the Tilton Conservation Commission, about RE, the Tilton site, Tilton School site plan. The Conservation Commission has reviewed Tilton School's site plan application for athletic fields on tax map U7 Lot 39 and has the following concerns. Number one, the proposed drainage on the plan directs water towards School Street which could impact the road, especially with ice buildup in the drainage ditches during the colder months. It would be preferable to direct the water towards the wetlands in a more northerly direction. Number 2, the proposed lighting as well as the indicated future lighting will have an impact on wildlife that currently use this area. Keeping the lighting to a minimum would be preferred. Thank you.
And also, is there going to be a swale, a bermed swale at the end of the field to slow whatever water sheet off that field
Well,
at that northern end?
it's under drained, and it goes to a drain manhole that then discharges down the slope towards the.
But it's going to be a playing field, correct?
Correct.
So
It's
going to be compacted
Well,
soil.
it actually has drainage material under it. It's a synthetic surface.
Oh, it is a
Yes,
synthetic surface,
correct.
I'm sorry, I didn't
Yes,
know
yeah,
that, okay.
synthetic,
And that's discharging directly in, or will that discharge be into a swale before it's dispersed on the abutting property?
It's, Tilton owns this.
That's correct, but
property.
we
And
own the
it's-
property next to it and all runs downhill.
It's just daylighting. After, it'll be in a manhole and then it
It's just
is
gonna
piped.
daylight without a swale?
Correct. It's got riprap, a riprap swale, flared end section with a riprap
Well,
swale.
that's not, that's, I mean, something to divert the flow of waters, I mean, the storms that we've been getting with,
The riprap should dissipate the flow coming out of there.
okay.
Yep.
So you're talking the base when it comes out?
Correct.
Going to riprap, not
Correct.
the head wall of
No,
the.
no.
Thank you, okay. Gotcha.
Is the entire field going to be leveled, or the east end that I see lower than the playing area?
It's all level from here and it slopes at less than 1%.
So the present condition of the lower end that abuts School Street is staying as is?
It's being cut in this corner.
School Street.
But
I'm
over
sorry,
School Street,
I'm sorry.
the
I'm
answer
sorry.
is yes, it's staying existing.
Will there be
All of
any
this stays
upkeep or
existing.
making it any kind of landscaping to enhance the beauty of that area?
Susan, correct me if I'm wrong, but the property which is on School Street, which is at the eastern edge of the property,
Mhm.
is going to remain untouched. If
This
you draw,
remains untouched.
No, but if you draw
And this remains untouched.
that area.
Okay, so that is very slumpy and wet. And will the upper portion cause more runoff
No,
in that
because-
area?
Because everything here is essentially going to this basin, which then filters out and lessens the rate of runoff. So that whole area is being treated. This undisturbed area will remain as is.
Just as is?
Yeah. Correct.
So all the construction is gonna come in off of Pillsbury? All the construction, so there will be no disturbance on okay.
You mean School Street?
Right, but they're not gonna come up School Street, make a left turn and go across the field, they're gonna come down Pillsbury, then, in a sense,
I
access
would
from the
think-
parking lot.
yeah.
Access from the parking.
Okay,
Correct.
it's a proposed parking lot.
Correct.
Pat, you have a
Correct.
question?
In the dark green area, towards the end of the field, how much cutting is actually gonna go on there into the woodland area there?
This is the proposed, let me do this. The existing tree line does this. That's the existing tree line. This will be the new tree line. So literally, that much is being cleared. All of this stays wooded, just as is.
Is there any landscaping at all going in on this side? I mean, am I looking out my back window here at a field and a parking lot, basically?
Some trees, a grass slope.
No, he lives down.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're here.
That's okay, yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't, I thought.
That's all right.
Sorry. Essentially, this will remain meadow with some plantings
There is gonna be some plantings over there, is what I'm asking?
here, right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought
Yep.
from seeing from here.
Yep,
but I
those
wasn't
are
sure.
plantings and plantings along here.
Mhm.
So to beautify that area that you say is going to remain as is, could there be some like wildflower planting done and bird nests and other things to attract small creatures?
That wasn't part of our proposal, but that's certainly something that we could consider in the project. I don't know how that would change, I want to be careful here. Would that change our application? If we put,
Would that be considered a change in the plans?
The board.
I mean, if they want to put some.
When you, or if you approve this, I would like to suggest 2 conditions: that a buffer be created on the edge of the parking lot of tall shrubs to protect that resident that's there from, activity in the parking lot, and that the swale for the drainage, the riprap swale, be maintained so that grasses are not allowed to grow up in there and, anticipate its use, which often happens. So a regular maintenance schedule should be created so that it remains stony and riprap.
Because it could very easily grow up in brush and
Yep,
unpleasant.
exactly. You could have pine trees in there in no time.
Thank you.
And a thought for your meadow, you might be able to make that a class project. The kids doing some wildflower stuff out there.
Yes.
That doesn't have to be part of what we're doing. That could
So
be
I
stuff
mean,
that kids
I would
could
say,
use.
I'm not comfortable amending the proposal as it is. But certainly, some of the things that you're talking about might be some good choices to make in the future.
I have one more question. Was there any study done, or was there any research done to look into whether or not the proposed turf field would hinder in any way the wildlife corridor that's there? I mean, at one time when we were considering a swap of property with the Tilton School and actually swapping that piece of property for another piece for the pond, residents in the town of Tilton came out in droves, absolute droves, because they were concerned about disturbing the wildlife corridor, which comes up along where the dark green is, and go through the back there now, am I right?
Yep.
And there's a huge concern about that, and I was just wondering if there was any consideration or research done to what effect clear cutting that corner would have. It's very clear when you go out there and walk that path where the wildlife corridor is, and that's right in that area, wetland or not. I've walked it many times with the residents. That would be a concern.
We're only disturbing of the wood.
My
existing wood.
understanding, the wildlife corridor comes in through this way and this way and ends up here.
Right, and which we're not disturbing.
But you're disturbing this here, which
Just
would
this.
disturb this.
Just this little bit.
Well, just this little can be a lot to wildlife, and that's what I'm saying. It may not sound significant to perhaps you as a designer, but to the many people that were at the meetings when we had them to consider the swap a few years back, they came out and they were very, 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 very adamant about not disturbing the wildlife corridor. So I'm just wondering if there's any research to see what the impact of cutting that corner would play on the wildlife corridor. It is there, it's been existing for years and years.
I'd have to say, by looking at it from here and looking out my back window, and what I see, they're probably taking down 3 trees. I mean, it doesn't, I don't believe there's a whole lot there to be taken out, is there?
There's not, and Pat, to answer your question, we have not done any impact study on the wildlife corridor. I have not seen a map of where the wildlife corridor is, something that Jim shared with me when we were talking about this project. And from my anecdotal conversations with Jim, we didn't do a study on it because we didn't think that it would be directly impacting that piece. Now, I could be wrong, because I haven't seen a map of where the corridor is. I don't know if such a map exists or not. I've walked back in there too. I've walked back there too, and from my, I don't think it impacts that corridor directly. I think it's too far to the south of it. So that's how I'd respond to that.
I think Peter, Roy Wakefield, who lives right up there, would be probably the one to talk to in regards to the wildlife corridor. He's extremely familiar with that and walked it many times with Jim and myself and the environmental folks from the state who were going to map it when we were considering taking, doing the swamp.
Yeah.
So it could possibly be one that's mapped out now.
I think the Conservation Commission, it seems like they addressed it a little bit with the wildlife, but they didn't bring it, I don't
Yeah, they did.
see they would have mentioned it. Sure, they would have been known about the trail.
They may not have been as aware about it as the selectmen were, because since we were directly involved in the land swap, then people came to the selectmen's meeting, and it was Roy Wakefield who hosted the walk.
To involve a wildlife study is a long-term effort on that too. It's not just watching it for a week or two, it's
No, it's
watching it
a
for a
long-
long.
Year.
I don't know so much about this, the maps.
To see where, what's going on.
And
Field is
I've
going in.
looked at them, and the wildlife.
We may know.
Can I get that? It isn't sweet trees. Sounds like the. Yeah, this is where the proposal is, this is where those maximum.
I don't see that being part of the corridor itself.
Yeah, better when they did the lot line
Yeah,
adjustment.
just, I want to find out for,
I have a question.
I mean, you say that,
The lighting around the
someone could say
parking
that
lot?
here, let's find out where.
We need to, well, obviously.
Are you going to,
Contention.
is that something that's going to be lit all the time, just for games, or, what is the lighting plan for that parking lot now?
I would defer that to Tito. The parking lot lighting, will they be on timers or?
Is that going to be something that's turned off at dark if it's not being used, or are you going to leave the lighting on, or?
We haven't talked about doing the lighting specifically for that area. Since that field will not be used at night, I imagine that the lights would not be in use at that time.
Okay.
But I want to clarify that we have not discussed the policy. Beth Sheehan may be able to comment on that.
I'm the business manager at the Tilton School, and the director of facilities couldn't come this evening, but we do keep all our lights on timers, so I would think that we would be very conservative because that's a cost that we would incur. And we would not be lighting it when it doesn't need to be lit at all. We would be pretty sure about that. I know from the business perspective, we watch that very closely, and so we do have timers on all the other exterior lights.
And this is just for the parking lot you're talking about?
Correct. Yeah, we have security as well, so, they come in and if there's any light, but I can't see why we would have them lit at night unless it was being used, which we would not be using it normally. It would probably be, in the fall, it might get dusky, if, late fall afternoon, but lights might be needed for people to egress an event. Other than that, I would think we would be very careful with the lighting.
Any other questions from the public? Yes, ma'am.
Is there a lighting plan submitted with the project?
Just,
Yes.
The design of the light?
Yep.
The lumens of the light?
Yes.
Yeah.
And are they downcast and how high are they?
Yes, they are.
I'm concerned about the residential neighborhood
And
there.
they're,
No,
no, they're all
SP7 has
meet
that.
everything. SB3 and SB7.
Yeah.
What is the proposed heights of the poles?
24 feet.
The three?
That would light up the area significantly. I would suggest that the planning board put a time that they would have to be off by, so as not to disturb the residents in the area.
Unless there was a game. I mean, eventually they might play night games there, then they would have a
But
parking lot.
if they're gonna do
Present
night
time,
game,
not
they're gonna
to.
have to come back.
Yeah, for the lighting,
Anyway,
yeah.
so we can discuss that at that time.
Because
An
certainly we
hour
could,
after dark
Yeah.
seems sufficient if they are only intending to have day games now.
right,
Is there a way to do a little softer lighting up there versus 24-foot poles, maybe something a little bit more aesthetic? You know, less intrusive, I guess is the word.
yeah.
I think if you look at the lights that are on there right now, I think they're not that intrusive.
No,
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I didn't think so either.
Kind of
Yeah. Downcast.
Yeah, yeah.
And personally, I'm the only abutter on that street over there. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if you can plant some trees beside the parking lot, I'm certainly not worried about the lighting.
okay.
You know,
You're on one side, but the other side is real close. The
The
Prospect,
other
that's
side's owned by
Prospect,
Tilton,
yeah.
right?
No,
The one on,
Prospect.
on,
Prospect.
right, Prospect and Daniel Drive, it's going in.
But the parking lot's in Pillsbury Lane, correct?
Right,
Yes.
this is the parking lot where the lights would be.
Right.
And you're the closest abutter,
Right.
right? Okay.
Mr. Jones, it would be impacted, nobody else.
Yeah, and you know, and like I said, you know, I'd have to agree with the trees, maybe some trees to block off the parking lot. I don't wanna look at the parking lot. But, you know, other than that, I have no concerns with it. If, you know, if they're gonna put bright lights out there, I want a basketball hoop. That's, you know, that's it.
What's that saying, if they do, if you build it, they shall come?
They shall come.
That's right.
I need a cornfield for that.
Any other public comment? I feel like there's someone there. Oh, she's.
It's got this one.
It's
Tilton.
I just remember the person being there. All right, I guess we'll close it for public comment.
I agree, we should just take a look at the corridor, see if we can get some map. What kind of map for wildlife corridor. Just to take a peek at that and see how it works. That's it. That's, I mean, we should be able to find that, as you said. You know, what-
Yeah, there's a whole website for,
By then I can find out exactly how close that is, before we make a determination, I think,
Wildlife.
before, you know, stopping the project over, of an indeterminate corridor of wildlife, we should look at that. I don't have a problem with the lighting, I don't have a problem with the project, the abutters don't have a problem, I mean, overall, okay, with some caveats, which is normal, maybe. That's something I think is, raising.
Well, to stop that because of 3 trees being removed is a little.
And I don't
Yeah.
think that's
I agree.
good with trees being removed, because when you go on up to Daniel Drive, you've got houses, you know, that infringe on that as well.
And, you know, I agree, 3 trees are up,
Yeah.
but just to appease the folks that
Be
brought us
certain.
the issue, just to say that we looked at it,
Yeah.
And for our own knowledge as well,
you know.
It's a good thing.
It was brought up, it's a point, it's understandable, it should be looked at.
It's just
And if you disturb a deer, they're gonna go 5 feet away.
do we have that record, where that trail is? Is it in the town records? Or
It's
just
not
on
a
that
trail.
website?
It's not a
The
trail.
path, the path.
There's,
I'm
it's
sure
not a
Rotary
path.
Field would.
There's a corridor is an area where wildlife exists
Yeah.
in large numbers and
They travel back and
and
forth.
It's a
a lot
path.
of species
I
exist
understand
there.
the corridor,
And
but is there, I guess what I'm looking for, is there documentation
There are
somewhere that
maps.
shows, a
There are
map that shows where it is?
topographical maps for all the area, and it's on the New Hampshire Wildlife website, Fish and Game Wild, website. And it's updated every so many months.
I don't think it's necessary.
But, yeah. No, I just know she was going to pull a map out of a drawer or something like that, so I don't know.
Roy Wakefield would certainly host you to walk you through it. It's quite visible. That's how extensively it's used.
There's a series of paths back there.
Yeah.
Extremely knowledgeable as well.
You know.
And the project is done by us.
Because it goes into Buffalo Park.
Is this something that we should go
How
look
long
at
is this?
as a board?
The corridor goes into Buffalo Park,
I'm not familiar.
goes right in.
If there's
I
how
think
much
it's in
concern
there.
of it, I mean, I don't
This
know.
goes
Yeah,
right
it's a
in.
big lot, but-
This right here goes into Buffalo Park. This is Buffalo Park right here, which is a conservation area, town conservation area.
So
This on
how
the
long of a
field.
walk would
What?
that be?
Under that field?
It's not,
Yeah.
not that long. Not that long.
So it's something that planning board would walk.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So we should get together and
I'm
take a
sure he
walk.
would, I'm sure he would be more than happy. Invite, you know, Peter and Beth and Mr. Jones.
Because we're not gonna find anything on a
But
map.
I'll listen here.
You know, I look at it out
Well,
my
they were
back
going
window
to
every day.
mount it.
Yeah.
So or out my side window, however you wanna look at it.
Wetlands.
I mean, I don't see,
And they were
I'm not the
noted
the
because
board,
it was
don't get me
I-
wrong.
I-
apparent.
But I don't see where that
They
100-yard
walked
field is
through there
gonna
and then across the
affect
street.
that corridor
I don't
in
either.
any way.
It was down the-
And but I'm again, I'm in the butter.
Only in a butter.
That's right.
It may or may not. All I'm asking is for people to check, to look into it first.
And that's all I'm
So it may
offering, is
not.
at least just throw it out there, it's a request that's been put in front of everybody. You
Exactly.
know, just take the diligence to look at it,
Right.
and if it's not an issue, it's not an issue. But to not look at it and begin an issue, we're, yeah.
It'd all be at Peter's door.
Well, I looked at it when it came up before, so, you know.
I wondered that too, and it's like, you
Yeah.
know.
Not all of us have.
No, I know. I'm not saying we shouldn't, I'm just saying.
Okay,
So we should,
Gus, is there room on the 9th?
Sure.
Can I ask a procedural question? So if the idea is for just the board to go and look at it, is it something that we could just look at and then when you're looking at it, you could grant your approval at that point, or does it have to happen
No, it
at the
has
next
to happen
meeting?
at a public hearing,
Okay.
because otherwise we're making a decision and the public may not be with us. I mean, we could advertise it as a public meeting,
Okay.
but for,
You might not
If-
have a quorum.
if we didn't have a quorum, well, more important, it also protects you.
Okay.
Because no one can come back and say, well, they made a decision about something, you know, and it-
I totally understand. This
Yeah.
is all new to me.
Yes.
So I'm just learning as I go
Me
along.
too. Well, that's why I keep asking questions, because I
you
don't know.
weren't, this isn't really going to delay you at all. I mean, it's just a case that we'll go out, we'll
Well,
walk
it
the path.
does have the potential to delay us. So that was why I was asking the
Yeah.
question, but I want to make sure that we do it right. So
Right.
I've got that balance. I'm
Okay.
trying to make things happen.
Is this something that we're gonna go look at, site plan, walk it, or is this?
Well, you can go, they've offered to get this gentleman to take you for a walk through there.
I can
mean,
take you through.
I've been through there, I know Jane's been through there,
I've been through there too.
and,
Right, but we have to watch how we do this, because otherwise you're trespassing and/or having a quorum, so we have to.
I'll buy coffee and donuts, you can look out my window in the morning and see. I
It's
mean,
right
really,
Or
it's
everybody
nice.
sleeping over your house.
Serious, no,
It's
no, I don't
right-
want
it's
y'all
right-
sleeping
Oh, I know
over.
where, I know where
How
it
about pulling your
is.
driveway?
Did you have an opportunity
There
to
you go,
walk around
perfect,
the
you're welcome to
property
trespass across
Right,
my
if
yard,
you
the rest
walk
is
the
theirs.
pond,
You
if
have-
Tilton School would give us permission to walk through the pond area, and that's where it goes.
Yeah, it runs on the south side of the pond.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can, that's a.
And the lot right beside the pond lot is the town's lot.
Right.
All right, then I'll make a motion to continue this case, and it's case 13-09, until July the 9th at 6:30.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Issue brought up, we have to look at it.
Who seconded that? I didn't.
I'll take full.
Okay.
So we'll go, and we'll get our answers and come back.
I was just gonna put you, when did you start, want to start? Has the house come down yet?
The house is in the process of coming down.
It took a while to build this.
So do those of us who are on last get to go on first next time?
Well, right now I have one, and we have a public hearing, and then it's gonna be like the same way. Hopefully it won't be as bad.
Shouldn't be. I mean,
No, we got a subdivision before that.
Thank you.
We're gonna take 5 guesses.
You don't need anything further from me, correct?
No, not
Okay.
at this point, I guess.
Awesome. Thanks, Augusta.
Nice, thank you, Susan.
If someone walked out there, is there like a
Are we going
flag
to-
mark, or surveyor's mark out there where the?
No, it's not marked.
corner?
Okay. Correspondence, go ahead.
All right, no, the approval of the May 28th minutes.
28th minutes.
Oh, okay.
Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns, complaints?
None at all.
I'll make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes of May 28th, 2013, as written.
Good job, guys.
Is there a second?
Yeah.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to bring the minutes of June 11th, 2013 to the floor for approval, discussion.
Here's a question, because 3 of us would have to abstain.
Right.
No, you can, well, you don't really have to abstain. You read the minutes, didn't you?
Yeah, I read the minutes.
Then you can vote on them, if they go,
You
okay.
can vote on them.
Okay, I just thought of that.
I mean, normally,
I would vote that they're grammatically correct.
Grammatically.
yes.
Grammatically?
Okay, no, I just want to make sure.
Yes, you can still vote on the subject matter.
Normally, if we had a full board, you would just say, I abstain, I wasn't present, but you could certainly read them and say, who wrote these, or, you know, or whatever it might be. We're approving the minutes of June 11th.
Been to Dunkin' Donuts already?
No, it was in the car. I forgot to bring it in because it was pouring rain.
Oh.
Isn't it cold?
I don't care. If you drink as much coffee as I do, you don't care whether
I
it's
move to
cold.
approve the meeting minutes of June 11th, 2013.
I second it.
You just said,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, minutes are done.
All right.
It's only one page, doesn't take long to read.
All right.
All right, this is correspondence.
Yep.
Let's see, Town of Tilton, notice decision, zoning board of adjustment, Town of Tilton, June 17th. Country Meadows, attention Kevin Lacoste, you are hereby notified that an appeal for Country Meadows manufactured home community for variance from Article 14.4, Section 14.4.2 of the zoning ordinance to allow the creation of a 7.259 acre lot as depicted on the survey dated May 27th, 2013 was granted with the following conditions. The single-family residence on the lot shall always remain a single-family residence. No further subdivision of the lot itself. no additional structures other than the outbuilding shall be created on the lot. Robert Brown, Chairman.
That's it.
That's it. All right.
So we can let him subdivide his lot.
Good.
Um,
Just continue on that.
This is operation and maintenance for Aspen Dental Stormwater Inspection Maintenance Program. Need to review this plan and sign on.
Yeah, that was my note to you.
Oh, okay. So, catch basin maintenance procedures. 1, inspect catch basins for sediment. 2, remove grates and covers. 3, skim off oils and floatables. 4, using a stadia rod, measure the depth of sediment. 5, if sediment is at a depth greater than 6 inches, proceed to step 6. If not, proceed to step 7. 6, vacuum or manually remove sediment. 7, replace grates or covers. 8, record depth and date and schedule next inspection. That's right.
Did they do, are all their other conditions met?
The other condition was compliance with state fire codes, compliance with signage, which we haven't got the plan in yet for the signage. I mean, they haven't gotten in their permit yet.
Yep.
Updated driveway permit, where the state said they didn't need to because they weren't on a state road. You know, they were entering from access from a private road.
Well, isn't that interesting, because the state used to yell at me because they'd say, well, they're going to be putting more traffic at the intersection, the lighted intersection, and they were keeping account on the number of cars using the lighted intersection. So they wanted to know, even though their driveway wasn't necessarily on a state road, but
They wanted
they
to have
entered
traffic.
and went out through that lighted intersection.
So which way do they want it?
So, I don't know.
It's different people with
Yeah.
different, views. And
Interpreting one law.
yeah,
Okay.
but that's the way they do it, I mean, it depends on how busy the day is.
Oh, we do have Congress.
Yeah.
Kind of a day they have.
And then the other one is the manufactured oil water separators with the maintenance plans, so the maintenance plans here. And the other one is directional signs where
Alright.
needed. So yeah, they've kind of met everything.
Have they?
I mean,
Okay, well, I just didn't
when they
want-
do their building permit and their sign
Yes.
permit, they will have met everything.
Okay,
Next
well,
one is from the State of New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services to Peter Masterson, EHS Supervisor at 3 in Tilton, twin paper drill, on-site full compliance evaluation report. We didn't do anything? Or is it just for records?
Just information.
3, Department of Environmental Service application for groundwater discharge permit. This looks like it's from 3M.
Yep. 3M also.
Driveway permit. This is for, temporary special events.
That's the one we just had here.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, this permit requires that a paved apron be constructed from the edge of the highway paved at 25 feet into the site.
Right. We've got that in the packet.
All right. Moving on. And this is request for project review by the New Hampshire Division of Historical Resources.
That was also.
That was attached to something, yeah.
Yeah.
No, they've met their conditions of approval, so we'll sign their plan.
This was on its own.
As far as their maintenance plan, I have no objections to the maintenance plan. That's
No.
really
No, that's
basically what they
straightforward.
do. When they get too much sediment in the bottom, they take it out.
This is for the house that we had.
Yeah. That was in our package though.
Oh,
Yeah.
he said it was attached. Never mind.
That's the chair.
I'll make a motion to.
Nope, yeah.
Wait, we have to talk about, you have to sign the site plan,
Oh.
and,
I don't see a signature, so
well, it's just,
I've got the stamp.
you
so-
got a stamp,
I just was looking for it.
and you should sign every page.
Every page they should
Every
sign?
page, because they can always insert new pages if you haven't signed it, and you won't know about it. If you only sign the cover page.
Okay, well, let's go over here where I have more room.
No, I was just gonna say, we're gonna have a public hearing on our master plan. Is it going to be ready for a public hearing?
It should be.
Just making space for it.
And we'll just have our sections, you know, like paper clipped together or whatever, so we can hand them out.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to put anything together until after we've had a public hearing,
Right.
in case there's any comments or changes asked for.
And then we can just have a work night and.
Here, do it on piece of paper.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And then, once it's,
I don't know which one.
we have our public hearing and we vote to adopt it, then we can have a pizza party or something. We have all the stuff here to make our own, with the binders and stuff.
You couldn't leave it on my list. Okay, now it's sinking in.
Yeah. Because, you know, you have to, we have a machine that you run the paper through, it puts all the holes in it. And then that same machine, you start the metal spiral and you right onto the paper. And, you know, it goes pretty quick, that, you know, we.
This is
and
true,
we
we're
don't
gonna have one sign for them,
It's
one
not
sign
like
for
we
me.
have to, like at the
Yeah.
town meeting, we usually do about 400, but for this, I think 100 is plenty. And we can always make more as we need.
It'll be on the website.
Right, it'll be on the
Yeah.
website, so
Yeah.
people can download their own. So if we make, maybe not even 100, maybe 50
I
or
was gonna say
60.
50, and then, like you said, you can only make more later
Right.
if necessary.
Well, we put it on the website too.
Right.
So somebody could print it out, or anybody could print it out if
Right.
needed,
Right.
you know?
And then that way, and if by
You want-
using the spiral the way it is, it will be much easier
You're
in
gonna
the
have
future.
pictures and everything?
Yes, if, did you ever go through, or if you didn't, I will, and see what maps we're gonna need?
I haven't yet. I really didn't, haven't, every time I thought Friday was supposed to be my day, I didn't get to do anything on Friday. I didn't get to do anything yesterday.
So I'll go through and just make a list and see if we can come up with.
I did have a special.
Or you could just pull that off the table.
We didn't need it there anymore anyway.
Tim, edit that out of the tape too.
It's under the table. Don't worry about it.
Janet, on the map, online.
I can shut that off. I had a pen, what did I do with it?
Why?
It's right here.
I don't think
Look up the definition. Do it under Google, what is a wildlife corridor? Do that. So let's get a definition first. Because, is the camera on?
Yeah, it's not off yet. You wanna make a motion to adjourn?
Oh, that's right.
All right.
Is
I
that
make a
sign?
motion to adjourn.
Second it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
So.
Oh, so